What's up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we got Seth on the channel, guys. He actually made a brand new clan boss team and we're here to present it. Plus, we're gonna use Elder Skarg in it because I have him at +4 and why not? Let's see what sort of damage we're gonna get out of him. But Seth, what's up, bro? How are you doing? Nice to have you on the channel.
Thanks for the invite again. I'm really excited to see this. This was the one test subject I couldn't do because I don't own an Elder Skarg. And we were talking the other day and you were like, I've got a +4. And I was like, I've got a great video idea for you. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to work.
Absolutely. So it's going to be one of the very first teams that goes on a 3-to-1 ratio, guys. And can have Elder Skarg on Relentless. So we're expecting to see some nutty damage out of Elder Skarg. So that's the build that we have on him right here. That team is actually called Mythwatchers. The reason for it is because we have Elva and we have Ruella. So Ruella boosts the Thermitter as well. For whoever is not familiar, she doesn't just debuff. She's not only good for the Fire Knight. And we have Elva, which was the 20 Sacred Guaranteed Legendary. So I guess if I went for the Guaranteed, at least to put her to good use, right, Seth?
Yeah, I mean, she's really crazy, I think, especially for the Sand Devil, especially for Arena. You actually, with Elva, one of those things, you don't realize what she's doing until you're like, why haven't I killed anyone? Elva is one of those types of champions. So she just makes this clan boss team so much easier to run on Affinity. And that's the big difference. You can run an ARS, but it becomes very problematic with affinity issues. Here, we don't have that. Affinity issues, and it's a little bit different to what Deadwood ran with his Elva Ruella variant, because we're running 3-1 here and I think his team runs 2-1, so this is slightly different to that team.
That's good. I had no idea that Deadwood actually made a team with her as well at some point.
Yeah, he did. He's got so many speed tunes coming out of his ears, that man.
Yeah, it I mean, you gotta keep it going. Now Elva, she's the best magic support champion in the game. That's why I actually went for the champion. Yeah. When we had her on the test server, when they released the champions, I knew that we finally got a magic support champion that's worth it, you know. So I'm pretty pumped. We have Seeker, guys. We have Ruella. She was a new addition added to the game from the new faction. That's why it's called the Mythwatchers. We have the Mita, 326 speed now. For some of you guys, might be a bit too high in terms of speed. We do have the gear ascension now. A lot of things that will help you to get the speeds better. A 3-to-1 ratio team will deal more damage than a 2-to-1 ratio team. One thing to keep in mind, and we do have 2 solid damage dealers. The best thing about it is that Elder Skarg can be replaced by anyone. Of course, not everyone will work on a Relentless like Elder Skarg. Elder Skarg works on Relentless just for the simple fact that he can buff increased speed on himself from the A1. That's why he works on Relentless. Now, Ruella already brings defense down and weaken, okay? And that's brilliant because you don't really have to worry about a different champion to bring you defense down and weaken. Considering that we're going on a 3-to-1 ratio, she's gonna get plenty of chances to land it, even if she might get resisted on one of the hits. But she has a triple hitter and the chance to land it. So she's a very, very impressive champion. Boost the Thermitter of all allies by 20. And she gives you increased crit rate.
The important thing on that A2, just to note, as anyone who's watching this video, she does each debuff on every hit.
Yeah.
So she has a chance to place the debuff. She has a chance to place every single debuff on every single hit. Whereas someone like a Cantra would try one of her debuffs. She does all 3. So even on weak affinity, you will find that she lands these debuffs because the odds of you getting triple weak hit back to back in a situation is actually relatively low. So you actually get pretty good uptime even on weak affinity.
Yeah, actually, it's one of the best champions to land defense down and weaken with the way it works for her kit, you know. The Thermitter increased crit rate can help you as well because if you're lacking crit rate or some of your champions, this can help you too. You know me, I have the gear. I always build them with 100% crit rate. I don't stress with the rest, but it can definitely help a lot of you guys out there with the crit rate. And we're gonna show you all the builds at the end. I'm quickly going to go back on the toon right here. I just wanted to explain you what the champions do. So Elva increases the speed, cleanses, and gives you block debuffs. That's why she can work instead of Harris. And this team works on Ultra Nightmare, works on Nightmare, works on Brutal. The exact same thing. It's full auto. So you see right here I have Elder Skarg. I'm not sure if you guys can see. Let me just actually zoom in a little bit. So Elva, she has a 1-turn delay on the A2. She opens with A2. Elder Skarg is not allowed to use his A3, only A1 and A2. He opens with A2. Seeker, just normal, you're not changing nothing. on Ruela, you're gonna have to prioritize the. Let me just see if I cannot scroll this more down. I'm not sure if Seth blocks it. No, you can actually see. So on Ruela, you're gonna have to open with the A3 and prioritize the A3 as well. Actually, you open with the A2, prioritize the A3. My bad. And the Mita, you gotta prioritize her A2. I'm gonna show you the presets, and she opens with the A3, right? Or no, she opens with the A2 as well, the Mita. So let's actually...
The extension priority means that you always have increased crit rate up on every single turn. May not be the case for Elder Skarg in Relentless, because obviously he can outrun the crit rate buff. So it's probably important that if you were to reproduce this, you build Elder Skarg at 100% crit rate regardless. But if you use any of the normal DPS, then that crit rate buff will be on all the time, because we have pushed Dimitha's priority of her A2 above her A3. That's the important change there.
Definitely. So I'm on Spirit Affinity on Ultra Nightmare. I'm using Elder Skarg because I want to see what he can do. So we're going to go to Nightmare instead, guys. But this works everywhere, how you guys saw on the calculator right there. I'm quickly going to select the team, and I'm going to show you the presets just to make it clear. So you have that on Elva to open with the A1. Then Elder Skarg, he's not allowed to use the A3. Make sure you're prioritizing the A2, because sometimes he just doesn't want to use it if no. Ruela, she opens with the A2, prioritize the A3. Demita, prioritize the A2 over the A3, and she opens with the A2. And Seeker, you're not doing nothing. And the whole thing is like click start, lay back, and enjoy, basically. That's kind of like what we're going to see here.
Dimitha's important to put priorities because she's another champion that doesn't like to use her abilities unless you tell her to. So definitely prioritize them. I've even gone as far as prioritizing Elva's A2 and disabling her revive just in case. Nobody dies, but you never know. You want to eliminate any potential risk.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good to know, because there are some crazy champions that do kind of like what they like. Now, keep in mind, Ruela, she's a triple hitter on the A1, on the A2. So, Giant Slayer, we're going to get a lot of damage from the champion. The build that I have on her is not that amazing, because I don't really have good accessories for the faction just yet. But check that out. Elder Skarg, 6 hits, almost 150k per hit. Is actually very nasty to get that done. Plus, you're getting the HP burn. I have Toxic on Seeker. He's the only champion that has it, and I think I have around 2 counterattack accessories. So it's gonna get to land it a bit more often in there, just to make sure we have enough debuffs to activate everything and to be spot
You should be
on.
able to support 2 Toxics in this team. Should be able to, because Elva should be able to cycle back to her decreased defense and weaken, which means that she'll reapply it before it expires. So normally in these teams, if you're bringing no other poisoners, 2 toxic sets can be supported. I've done some variations where I have a single one on Elva, and then I use sort of buff extenders, debuff extenders. But yeah, pretty crazy. And you can see the power of Elva there. Everyone got a debuff for decreased attack, but she was able to cleanse as well as block debuffs. She is the only champion in the game that can do increased speed, block debuffs, and cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown.
Absolutely.
Only champion in the game.
Yep, you're very
Absolutely
right.
Unique.
That's why I said I was very, very excited to know that we can get a strong magic support champion to it. I know she's not going to be meta in Arena at the moment, or hopefully she's going to be at some point in the future, but definitely good to know, that we're getting something better for Magic, because Magic support champions were really a massive massive disappointment so far. Like, not even epic champions except Gorgorab,
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure Elder Skarg's A2 is the 3rd hardest hitting single ability in the game in terms of an actual damage hit. I think Gintoro's 5-hitter is number 1. In terms of like a single hit, I think maybe a fully stacked Turvold will be up there as well. But in terms of just like a typical ability, single hit damage, it is probably the 3rd highest damage dealing ability in the game. Pretty insane.
He can definitely drop around I would say around the 900k,
1.3 mil,
or maybe he can get that far too.
Yeah, it's a 6-hitter. So
if the Giant Slayer procs as well, and
there's that Relentless. So he's getting 150. It depends, obviously, because he could outrun the increased attack in this team because he's going Relentless, right? We're assuming that the additional Relentless procs that we're going to get is going to outweigh the loss of increased attack.
Yeah, definitely. They will, yeah. Like, we're getting quite a few turns. Like, check that out, to 600k directly from there,
Yeah. On average, it should be around about 25 extra turns that you gain on a 3-1 ratio from a relentless set in a 50 turn in Clan Boss Unkillable.
So that's
it's around about 25.
That's quite a bit.
If you factor in the A3 hitting 6 times, you factor in War Master, you know, if you get a Phantom Touch on the dude, you get a lot more damage. It really does add up.
I'm definitely gonna chuck a Phantom Touch if I'm gonna get an Awakening for him. I haven't got one so far because I would have kept it, but I had one for a while, man, and I sold it like not a long time ago. I had, I think, a 2 or 3 star.
Yeah, so you probably want, the good thing about having Elva over Eris, obviously Elva is legendary, so we actually have a better Brimstone champion here than you know, you're not losing that Phantom Touch proc, be a damage dealer, which you tend to find in a lot of other teams because the legendary distribution is a lot lower. If you think here we've got 3 epics and 2 legendaries, where in normal teams like Mythwatchers is not so bad because you've got Fushan, but he's the only legendary if you choose not to use a DPS legendary.
Yeah, but
so you can actually decide to put just like your extra damage, non-damage in blessings, in the sense that Brimstone doesn't actually benefit a damage dealer onto an Elva here.
Yeah, like even with that, like you kind of want to have the Phantom Touch even on Fushan. Like he will get so much more, so much damage. You know, like would be a waste. You know.
The breakpoint basically is if you've got a 3-1 champion with 5,400 attack on a 6 out of 6 Phantom Touch, it will do more damage than a Brimstone on the boss at all times. That's your breakpoint. So if you're running like a Jintoro on a 3-1 ratio with 5,400 attack, if you get a 6-star Jintoro, even if you have Brimstone, it's better to run Phantom Touch because you will find Phantom Touch will deal more damage than the Brimstone debuff over a 50-turn fight. That's the breakpoint.
Absolutely.
2-1 is obviously a lot lower. 2-1 Brimstone pretty much beats out Phantom Touch in all situations just because you're not getting the extra attacks.
Yeah, but even there, like if the thing is, Brimstone needs to kind of like land at the right moment on, right? Like you need to have it on the first AoEs.
Yeah.
If no,
well, you need to have it on all the time.
Yeah, if no,
ideally
you're gonna start wasting. Like if he's gonna go on the stun, you're not getting the damage out of it, and that's a bit of a waste. So that's why I think we really overvalued Brimstone when they released the blessings, in my opinion. I feel like we got a bit too excited, all of us, and we kind of like overvalued it a bit, even in Hydra as well. Because if you just pay more attention and look at how it performs, even in Hydra Brimstone, you're just kind of like, okay, it's not that great actually, you know?
Yeah, it's really poor in Hydra because the only head that can really activate it is the Suffering head. And it's very valuable on a single target legendary in Hydra because if you can always get it on the Suffering head does activate it a lot because the cooldowns, the extra turn, you do get a lot of Brimstone procs.
Oof.
But generally speaking, if you have the correct team set up, you'll never find any value in Brimstone or Soul Reap, to be honest. They're both equally as bad, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Soul Reap is better for Arena, in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, well, the main problem with Soul Reap is it suggests that it ignores damage reduction multipliers, which it does for champions, but not for bosses.
Yeah.
So the fact they've coded it as AoE means that the Hydra passives severely reduce the damage you deal. So instead of it dealing like the 100%, it's dealing about 40% due to the fact that all the multipliers, especially with the Suffering head up being 30% AoE damage reduction, it has an impact, unfortunately. I'm not quite sure why we've got a different one and it's not coded or even publicly told that, hey, it'll only work for champions. Bosses will still have, you know, the damage reduction passives on the boss is still work. But there you go.
Interesting, yeah.
They did do a change in the last patch on Phantom Touch as well that they kind of didn't put in the patch notes.
Did they?
They've made it so that Phantom Touch is now fixed damage instead of variable.
Oh, okay. I was actually just talking with Arsalan yesterday because he has a 6-star Awaken Acrisia, and I was like, have you tried Phantom Touch on Clan Boss for her, you know? And he was like, yeah, but it barely deals any damage. And he was like, I still don't understand how it works. And I was like, it should be, because I got confused at the very beginning thinking that it's going to be based on your attack, but it's actually based on the attack in the way that the damage you're dealing every hit, right? That's how
it's based on your attack.
So
it's actually attack. So it's 5 times the champion's attack, ignoring 30% of the target's defense. And then it's fixed based on that now.
Ah, okay.
So it's very good on high attack champions. Not so good if you haven't got high attack. The before change, it used to be that it would basically take 5 times attack. And then obviously if you buffed your attack, then you get in 1.5 times that, right? It works with the buff. But it'd be 5 times attack. Then it ignores 30% of the target defense. And then it used to roll either +10 or -10. So you could have variability between your Phantom Touch procs. But now they've made it fixed, so it's always on that 0%. So whatever 5 times attack, and if you've got your 1.5 times buff on, that's what you will do, ignoring 30%. It's actually a crazy amount of damage. On a 3-1 champion, I've estimated in my tools that a 6 out of 6 Phantom Touch, because you get that 35% extra chance to proc twice, you do about 10 million damage on a very high damage, like a 6,600 attack champion. It's really high. It's stronger than Brimstone. It's stronger than War Masters. It's like the single highest damage in Blessing, probably, after you've got Cruelty stacked out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. If I guess it could be nice to have it on some champions. Like you've seen him going on a rampage here with his A2, then having the refresh accessory proccing and the extra turn, using it back to back was actually so nuts.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing with Elder Skarg would be it's based on per hit that it can proc, so it's pretty much always guaranteed to proc.
Yeah, exactly.
On his A2. It's a bit like Brimstone as well. Brimstone is based on each individual attack, so that's why Ninja on a 1-star seems to proc it so much more than, say, a normal champion, because each individual attack has that chance to do it. But Phantom Touch is, if you're building out a Blessing team here, you kind of want one Brimstone if you can get it. You definitely want a fully stacked Cruelty. Aura is optional, but then you just go Phantom Touch and you just unleash on the enemy.
No, interesting.
Really strong.
Right, so we're turn 25 at 66 million damage, guys. Pretty impressive so far. Considering that we have Elder Skarg, we have a weak affinity here. My Demeter has no masteries, by the way. Seeker does have War Master. And pretty good damage so far. I'm going to fast forward towards the end of the run so we don't keep the video too long, and we're going to get to see the total damage and kind of like do a bit of a commentary on it. We're back, guys. Turn 47, 125 million damage with Elder Skarg, Ruela, Seeker, Demeter with no masteries, and of course we have Elva, which she doesn't really do much. Like, I don't really have her build for damage because I don't have good accessories for her. Like, she doesn't have an amulet because I only have one amulet for this faction, which is on Ruela.
Painful, isn't it?
I know, because I haven't really farmed that much Spider recently, and I was just thinking, like, I definitely need to step up my game a bit with the Spider, because I'm lacking accessories for the new faction. And
well, I went hard on it was a ×3 recently, and I dropped out 6,000 energy, and I got 0 6-star crit damage amulets.
Oh, damn.
0. It was brutal. I got one the other day finally, so I need to rebuild my Elva now into actually proper damage and abilities, because obviously you don't need any accuracy or resistance. You want attack banners on her. She does do a lot of damage. In my test that I've run her in Toxic with Brimstone, I've got her up to about 21 million, so she's not totally useless. She's not a bot for that sense.
Yeah.
There we go.
See. 131 million damage, and Elder Skarg with wow.
Well,
80 million damage, guys. So
contextualized with no blessing.
Yeah. Nobody has a blessing, so nobody has blessings at all.
500 less attack, 25% less crit damage, Phantom Touch potentially, which would add another 10 to 15 million potentially because of Relentless. That is...
Yeah, so I was actually thinking, like, because he Seeker deals way more damage. So I'm going to bring up your video right here. So you see his Elva dealt 15 million, Demeter 12, right? Like mine, Elva, she had 6, Demeter had 2, okay? Like, just put it like that. So I lost a lot of damage from there too, but it's fine because I'm still getting to the 1 key. But on top of it, he actually used the rare champion, and you guys can use that too in the same team if you have this Judge. He actually Judge dealt 44 million damage there, of course, with a cheeky Phantom Touch, but his Seeker dealt double the damage than mine almost, 31, mine dealt 18. So it's definitely a pretty solid difference in there, and the team has a bigger gap. Like, you can actually reach a much higher damage all around, and it's just that allows you to have more options for your DPS. And we were talking about the speeds, like Elva's base speed is so high that if you take the gear from Harris and put it to Elva, you're probably there already, like you're not going to need to do anything else crazy. And Ruela, she has a pretty nice base speed as well. 112.
I think it's the highest epic with Golden Reaper in the game. I think it's like the highest. It's crazy base speed. So building her out, super easy. You're not gonna be stressing your gear to be able to hit those numbers.
And on top of it, you can build your champions with 70% crit rate because of Ruela, and you have everything that she brings too. And We used Elder Scar because we wanted to try him on Relentless. He's the only champion, I think, for the setup that we have right here that works in Relentless. If you're using somebody else, you cannot use him in Relentless. Keep that in mind. But if I'm bringing in a different champion, I'm pretty sure we're going to smack even higher damage, possibly. Somebody that hits even harder as an idea. And I'm very curious to try a Turvold in the lead, because I was just talking with Seth. He said that imagine having Turvold in the lead. I'm going to have to increase a bit the speeds, but he's going to be full of buffs, like 10 buffs all the time. You know, he's just going to... He's going to get nutty. You know, like he should be doing so much damage with his A3. He should be reaching like probably 1.2, 1.3 million damage whenever he's using that skill. And you don't need to buff him either, because he already has all the buffs on. So his A2 can be disabled completely as well on Turvold. Just A1, A3, and imagine having a reflex set on him. Dropping that A3 more often. You know, like that can be so nasty actually.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, if you are only running 2 abilities with Turvold, you turn off his A2, so you don't want to use up your buffs for nothing.
Exactly.
But you're only running 1 ability, so if you run Reflex, then you're going to get so many Juggernauts that, I mean, it could be record breaking. It could be like the single hardest hitting Turvold team that I've seen outside of, you know, if we take out the Infinity teams and those types of things, in terms of a traditional unkillable style, block damage style team. I think it might result in Turvold specifically dealing more damage than, say, a Mythbuster team. I know you've done a couple of videos recently on Mythbuster. The Mythbuster team overall will probably yield more damage because, let's face it, Cardiel is freaking busted. Cardiel is a monster. But if you take that Cardiel out, I think Turvold in this team, if you set him up right and you've got all the right empowerments, the right blessings, like, you know, looking at your team there, you have no blessings at all. So you haven't got a cruelty. You could even use on Demitha one of the auras, right? You're using the speed aura. You're not with Turvold, but in this team you are. That would give you 35% more speed aura. That is quite a big difference. That's about 6 speed or 5 speed that you need to save. But in terms of the Turvold team, you could basically get cruelty up there. You could get Phantom Touch on that Turvold, and it will deal... Like, imagine a reflex, refresh, cycle of magic, A3 only Turvold, +4.
My God, huh?
It makes me want to have more Turvolds.
Absolutely. Let's quickly show a bit the stats as well on the champions, guys, if you were curious. So we have Demitha on 3 speed sets. Total stats, you see, she has no crit damage, 95 crit rate, but the speed is what matters. 326 speed, that's what I have on her. And I have no masteries, okay? If you're getting masteries, avoid Thermometer masteries, avoid Cycle of Magic, and get War Master. That's going to bring you more damage. We're going to go over to
Law of Steel as well, right? Because if
help you with the speed,
fast, it'll help you a lot. It's about 6 to 7 speed. It's a really powerful mastery to get.
It is, especially with 3 speed sets, yeah? Moving over to the next one, Elva. So, how I mentioned, she doesn't have anything crazy here. Total stats, 39k HP, 1.9k attack, 296 speed, full crit rate, 90 crit damage. So in terms of building her, she definitely is not optimized for damage. It's just optimized for speed, full crit rate, because I gave her crit rate gloves, but that's about it. Masteries, I actually only have the offense 3 on. Seems like I haven't even finished them for some reason, because I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with the masteries. But War Master as tier 6. Avoid getting a Cycle of Magic on her. Avoid getting anything with Thermometer. You know, pretty straightforward. You can go with Stat Fast and go all the way down to even Cycle. Even Lasting Gifts can be a problem in some teams, maybe especially.
She'll overbuff. That's the problem.
She might overbuff. So just go on defense 3. You know, avoid getting support because she doesn't need accuracy. And the next champion in order by speed, we have Ruela. So she's on 2 perceptions, 1 speed set. Total stats, we have a 4.8k attack, 254 speed, 101 crit rate, 223 crit damage, 248 accuracy. I actually have like really rubbish accessories. You know, like look at this attack banner. No attack percent.
Hey, you've got an attack banner.
Yeah,
I still don't even have an attack banner.
I wish it was accuracy because I was gonna get more attack from the gear. But yeah.
Yeah.
Masteries, support, and offense. Giant Slayer as tier 6. The only thing that I wish I would have taken was Methodical over Sniper, because we already have a pretty good chance to land it. So that's something that I might adjust in the future. And then
Master Hexer here is very, very good.
yeah, we want to have the Master Hexer, yeah, for sure. And we had the next one, Elder Skark, Relentless, and we have a Cruel set, total stats, 7.6k attack, 211 speed, 102 crit rate, 294 crit damage, 236 accuracy. Remember, you can build all the champions except Elder Skark with a 70% crit rate because of Ruela. That's a massive thing that this team offers you, you know. And then we have Seeker with a toxic set and a speed set. Probably you might want to build him as well on full crit, right?
You can run 70% with him.
Yeah, you can.
You don't need to run.
So he's not gonna.
He's fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah,
that's nice. 4.5k attack, full crit rate, 254 crit damage. He's on a toxic. I do have 2 counter attack accessories and offense and support 3 again. Don't get lasting gifts because that can mess you up. You can actually go for Spirit Haze because that's not gonna affect anything in your team. But that's pretty much.
Get Laura Steel again here for cruel stuff, right? Cruel, crit damage sets, anything. Even like some of the stone skin and protection you might find if you're using the optimizer, you might end up getting a random set here. It can add a little bit more damage or a little bit more different stats.
Definitely.
Laura Steel is actually quite a good thing to pick up because there's nothing else you really need.
I was actually just thinking that I might go on lasting gifts. That's why I went this way, you know. But then I was like, should I go lasting gifts? Maybe we're gonna have the same problem that I had with Jintoro yesterday. You guys are gonna see that video. It just drove me nuts, and it drove Seth nuts, and it drove everyone else nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much everything for the Mythwatchers, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I definitely think it's better than the Mythfu because we have so many different options, and the team can allow us to have so many different things. Plus a 3-to-1 ratio. How you mentioned, it has a higher roof, like we can deal more damage if we're optimizing the team better. Seth, GG's on the team. A pleasure to have you on the channel, brother. Make sure you guys head over and check out his channel. You're gonna find the link in the pinned comment, guys. That was all for this video. Much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and we'll catch you all soon in the next one.